Hi, everyone. Welcome back for part two with Mimi DiTrani, who was a amazing talent manager and then is now the executive producer of the new fantasy franchise Asunda at HBO. Mimi, welcome back. Mimi?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for everyone for joining us back for part
Yes,
two.
I'm here.
Yeah, and we were talking about your spectacular clients from Meghan Markle to Whitney Cummings and Jonah Hill, and you just gave incredible advice to Whitney Cummings, which is a manager. You see, you because we all need, I guess, like a football team, they need a coach, and people need coaches or a director, and you literally knew how to steer your clients to the right path, and like like Whitney Cummings to her comedy. And then, so I want to ask about Jonah Hill. You saw him in just two lines on a TV show, and you knew.
It was a yeah, it was a movie. But yeah, but he again. I'm also sort of know my strengths, my own, and I do tailor every artist. I did tailor every artist's career because everybody's different. And I saw him and where he was wanting to go. And it was very much more at that point. He had such a big comedic presence. He's an incredible actor, and he ended up going with a manager that specialized more in that. I don't think he's changed since then. But I think I brought him up more so that it's just you just don't know where you're going to see talent, and it can be something very small. And with him, I mean, that was just he's an example of many people that I saw in just various areas, whether it be a play or a movie or a show or a guest star, things like that, or voiceover. I saw someone in a Diet Coke commercial, and it was really fun to kind of then get to know who they were and shape their career in a very tailored approach. So everybody was different.
Amazing. From Coca-Cola
I really enjoyed.
To manager with Mimi, amazing. That just to find the talent, how you find talent. Did you ever just find talent like you found Whitney in an elevator? Was there any other funny stories like in a coffee shop or at a park or where you discovered somebody?
In a funny story. God, I mean, I thought that I really would have to think about that if I had any other strange happenings. I mean, definitely through other clients on sets, that would be fun sometimes. Or in a play. I don't know if anything that's as funny. That was a very random. I mean, I saw someone in a Barbizon model. Maybe I don't know if you call it a catalog or a showcase of pictures, and she I'm very proud. She has a wonderful career, and she's elegant and gorgeous, and I think has a movie that can potentially be, it was Oscar worthy, and that took about 10 years to develop her, and she has a brilliant career. Has worked with incredible directors, and she could have just been a pretty face, and because she's stunning. But we really worked hard to pass on those sort of bubblegum roles and keep her, even if it was just a short film, working with, the very best directors.
So it took you 10 years with just one client of
that was a long one. They didn't always take that long.
But you had a vision for this actress that she could be
yes.
a lead, and you guided her so that she could be that lead actor that's not just like in those bubblegum, which everybody would be so happy to be working, but you had a special vision and you saw something special, and it took 10 years, almost like a daughter to you or something, like a family member.
She was a daughter to me. No, I mean, my clients were always at my house, and I would come home. She would often be in my front yard reading a book, and my clients in the beginning, some of them lived with me. For sure, it was definitely a non-traditional career that I've had. In terms of that, but I thought Catherine McPhee, obviously on American Idol, and she didn't even have an agent when I found the script smash. That was a really exciting process to see her go from that to, I remember when she was singing for the Christmas tree lighting at Rockefeller Center. This was a while back, and going into Times Square, and there was her billboard, of Smash, and she's on the top of it, and I was so proud of that, and that because no one took her seriously as an actress. Now she's working with Steven Spielberg. She's on a billboard. That she's still a very good friend today, and so worthy of all of that. But that was and we got a Golden Globe nomination. I mean, it was incredibly exciting.
You were just have a spectacular eye for talent, and she just had a baby, so congratulations.
Yes, she did. She's been sending me photos. It's adorable. He is absolutely beautiful. So she always wanted to be a mom. I'm just thrilled for her.
And I love that when your clients stick with you, stay with you, and are still with your friends, because it is so much work to be a manager. I was a talent manager for actors, and I didn't have just if they don't have a name and they don't have a lot of credits, to get them those credits, it's so much work. I was spending 15 hours a day, and I was just on commission only, so it was extremely hard. But I got people.
And sometimes you it is hard, but just like you say, it's a lot of time. And then I think also the other interesting part of it was when I was not even assigned another client that was a quote unquote name, but finding a script for someone who was a name and changing their career, I gave Justin Timberlake The Social Network. And when we called the casting director, she laughed at me because, it's David Fincher, it's Aaron Sorkin, it's, he tested many times. And you see the movie now, you can't imagine anybody else in it. I mean, he stole it, I think.
He was great in that. He was
that was a fun find. And, our Minnie Driver, I was working with her, and we got The Riches and on FX, and she really put her heart into that role, and she got nominated for an Emmy and a Golden Globe, and it just really, it was really fun to see all of that talent that people sometimes forget. You got to turn the page and remind them, and just sort of I don't want to say reinvent, but kind of have another chapter, or to have people see them in a different way. That was really fun too, as much as the development part was fun. I like that as well.
Minnie Driver, she's so great to watch. There's just something about so charming about her, and really great film choices. So wow, I don't know if it's the Italian instinct or the director instinct in you, but or the artist, because Italians like to say that we are the artist capital of the world. I mean, all roads lead to Rome. So I think it's naturally inborn in us. So
well, sometimes it was fully creative. I was looking at a list that I appreciate of people that I did discover, but because my company didn't get what I was seeing, I didn't get to pay. I saw Saoirse Ronan in a tiny little film that never came out, and I called her, spoke to her. She was nobody, her Irish agent, and they said, "Yeah, come on over, meet her and sign her." And my company didn't get it. She was really young. She wasn't drop dead gorgeous, and they wouldn't pay for me to go. And I know it killed me later, 3 Academy Award nominations later. But so sometimes it was. I'm still proud of seeing them. I'm still proud. And I guess, again, back to the previous part of our conversation, it taught me to trust my taste. And it's a business where really that's your only currency. You have your resume, you have your credits, but people have to believe that you have good taste. They have to trust you. So then, top agents, if you say to them, "Hey, I've got someone for you," or they started asking me, who's the next one on the horizon, they're going to trust that even if they've never seen that person in anything, they'll meet them. And that takes a while to build over time, that people will trust your taste. And even as applies to my books, when I would call people and they never heard of it, immediately they would meet with me, talk to me, look at the book, because they were like, "You have great taste, or you have good instincts." And and so whether it worked out or not, or the client left or not, or I got the client or not, it was all right. If you gave me a calculus exam, maybe I wouldn't do so well. But if you showed me a room of talent, I think I would have a good sense of who's the one to watch.
Yeah. And so speaking of, so you were this manager, and then there was a part that you said you went away a little bit, took a little break, and you were working on. Can you share that part, and then how you came back in a smashing way, and are working with HBO? Can you share that with us? Do you mind?
No problem. I was working with this actress that I'd worked with since she was about 11. Her name is Amanda Stenberg. And again, she was kind of, it was really hard to break her through. She was mixed race, and she ended up doing the Hunger Games. And, of course, in 2018, she was on the cover of Time magazine. So I'm very proud agents wouldn't even meet with her in the beginning. She's so special, so talented. And I thought, why can't she have a franchise? And that's when I told you she was signing autographs somewhere, and she was identified and by this creator and these books, and we saw them, and she actually wrote on one of them with Viola Davis, who did the foreword, and I had wanted to make them into a series for her. I didn't think there was a problem that the characters were all Black or that the lead was a female who was mixed. And I went to her agents, and they said, not going to happen. And, it was very they weren't really willing to send it out or set us up with writers. And, it was I stayed in the business managing for about a year after that, but I started getting a little bit, I think there was a lot of, emphasis being paid to, YouTubers and influencers and how we're going to monetize in that capacity. And that's not necessarily my strength, and I wanted to try working in a nonprofit in DC for a while, which I did. And I was working with the military, and on bases, I would see that kind of the underrepresented, person in our world is the Black woman, so strong, and all these Black women that were joined the military young to support their families. And I remembered those books, and how they resonated with me. And I called the author and I just said, hey, whatever happened? And he said, nothing really. I said, can I try a few things? And the very first person I sent it to, I shot kind of high. Her name's Lita Kalogridis. She wrote Terminator, Avatar. She was show running a series called Altered Carbon on Netflix. She wrote Shutter Island for Martin Scorsese, and she's brilliant. And she said, oh my God. And her producing partner said, oh my God, we need to meet right away. So I flew back to LA, and, the rest is, she ended up not wanting to do a whole series, but we ended up meeting everywhere, getting a lot of offers, Netflix, other places. And the creator's dream was HBO. Actually, this is sort of a funny story. I had a friend from Northwestern who was senior VP of drama at HBO at the time. He had worked on Game of Thrones and Westworld and all these shows that were similar to ours. But I had lost touch with him, having left the business for a year and a half. So I Facebook messengered him, actually. And he responded, and he read the books immediately. And we had a meeting on a Wednesday, and he gave it to the group on a Thursday, and we had an offer on a Monday, and we didn't even have agents or lawyers or anything. And that was really fun.
Oh, amazing. So can you share, can you walk us through that day when you saw the books at it was Comic-Con, right? It was Comic-Con.
Well, actually, yeah, it was a New York Comic-Con, and Amanda was actually there, and the creator, I guess he'd always sort of envisioned her, and he ran after her, and he really just, he was so excited by her. And when I met him, and we were all back in LA, and we looked at the books, and they're just beautiful. I mean, the art, he uses artists that have worked on, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Wolverine. And so that's really beautiful. The story is really beautiful. Having her collaborate on the books with him was an incredible process. She's so smart. She's going to be, I know she's going to write, direct, and all of it, and she even when as a little girl, she had always had those aspirations. And I'd never seen anything like it. They're extraordinary, and the story is to me just so, it's so moving, especially as a woman in navigating a career world, which sounds crazy, but I really relate to the character, and she has to make a lot of really tough decisions to find her destiny and save the world. And I think there's a lot of human themes that are relatable even in a fantasy world, and it's a great story. It's beautiful. And all of a sudden it's very timely,
Yeah, and so it's the fantasy universe was created. The gentleman's name is Sebastian A. Jones, right? Yes, it's co-written and executive produced by Jones, and it's in this.
Well, he wrote the books. He wrote all the books. He has a team. He owns his own company, and they work on it together. But he Amanda did work on him on one of the books, but he's created this over 20 years of his life. I mean, it's his life's work. He's got lots of books in his company, but this is a big franchise that he developed over years.
And is that Stranger Comics, or which is the
Yes?
Okay, so it's Stranger Comics. So I want our audience to go look at Stranger Comics, because they'll be like, "What? Well, where can they go find that or go look at those comics?"
He does really fun Instagram live chats, and he talks about the story. He's British and he's gorgeous, and he was an actor. He's really charismatic. So he tells the story, and his fan base that he's built up really just by himself. They're incredibly loyal. And, we missed comic book conventions last year, obviously. But when we were going, and especially after it was sold to HBO, I mean, they were so happy for him, genuinely, because that's the dream of the independent comic producer, when you're not Marvel or you're not DC Comics or you're not, you're just, a bunch of guys, writing books, and, to get discovered and go to a place like that is really, they've been working the comic book scene for many years, and the convention scene, excuse me, and that's kind of just selling the books and wanting, everybody wants to sort of bring it to life. So it was fun. It was fun to see that. It was fun to tell them that, I always said too, as a manager, like, you have a couple of good days, and, and one of them being telling them they got the job, and then everything before that and after that's really hard, but in the premiere, right? But telling people their dream came true is really a wonderful gift.
Yeah, and it's so competitive, and to achieve that in this business is extraordinary, and especially for women. I think women, that, like, if you weren't born into the family, or you didn't go to one of these extraordinary theater schools, but some people have the natural gift or this look, and they just they make it. So it's really stunning, and the fact that you found this amazing story, Asunda. Can you share a little bit? Because when it's the war-torn world of Asunda, right? Where an orphan girl is born of two nations, and she's raised in a small desert town, and she searched for her ancestors, and it's really
well, listen, don't worry. We're talking about 13 books, and most of which haven't even been written. It's very hard to put it into one sentence, so don't worry that's I've had to write so many different synopsises and log lines, and I mean, the basic premise is, she there was a king, and he's the devil, and her mother was murdered, and she was good, and she was from a tribe of elves that are now almost dispersed throughout the universe, like the Native American tribe, or just like any other civilization that kind of comes in and takes over. And so she had, before she died, given this destiny, or blessed her child, and said, when you grow up, you're going to save our people, you're going to bring our people back, and you're going to bring this broken land, which is actually a whole planet, back together again. And so she doesn't know, and she's raised in this little town, and she meets someone who teaches her to fight, and she has this feeling, that she's compelled, she has to go out into this world, and it's a treacherous world, and because he's written it over time, all of the different countries are different, kind of like Game of Thrones, where they go through Westeros. All of the different places in Westeros have their own look. One is kind of exotic, one, in Game of Thrones, one might be more icy. That's the same here. So they each have their own topography, their own language that he's created. And she's going along to figure out a way, because now her father, the devil, has really created this he's broken the world. Everybody's warring, and he's trying to make it incredibly just evil. So she's got to figure out a way to unite all these people together to fight him. And they're warring with each other. So she and the devil's always after her. The father's knows how powerful she is. So she has all this magic, and he's trying to capture her. So what's really interesting is, as she traverses the world and is doing this, she does fall in love, but she has to make a choice of love versus this journey, right? And she also starts to see a lot of bad things, like women that have been tortured, or people that have been held captive. And it's a decision, like, do I stop and use my fight skills to help these people, or do I just keep going on my mission? And because I don't want to just keep killing people, kind of like Jon Snow has that conflict. But she does. So she becomes a savior, not just of the world, but of all of these different people that have been held back in life, and or captured, or abducted, or put into slavery, or put into all kinds of really horrific situations. And she's just a real heroine. And I won't tell you how it ends, but so she has, so there's a real, she's a heroine in every way. And sometimes, it's about choices, even though you have the power to kill, do you, but is it for a good reason? And, so she's constantly, and the characters she meets aren't black and white, they might be evil. We don't know who to trust, but maybe they're evil because something happened to them in their past and we have to figure out what that was. So there's all these kinds of intertwining, subplots that I think, are relatable. Maybe this person used to be a really nice, wonderful person, but this awful thing happened to them and they don't trust anyone. And she starts to bring that out in people. And she's an incredible character. Her name is Niobe.
Oh, Niobe, yes. It sounds so fascinating. And like with the hit of Game of Thrones and people love Wonder Woman and Black Panther and just really any good story, I think people will get behind it and go, that's a great story. I got to watch it. Because at the end of the day, story is everything. And it has a spectacular world that brings you in with great characters and great relationships and great stories. And I think women are like, yeah, female leads. And I'm so excited about this one. And you said the author is from London, right? He's British, right?
Yes, he's British. His mother was a Bond girl, actually, so he knew a lot about Hollywood, and she's beautiful, and he's very interesting himself. And I think what you said was really spot on in terms of just the overall career of the entertainment industry is story. It's people always. I used to teach courses, be asked to come to courses, as did many of my colleagues and peers and friends, or in mentorship programs. It's like, how do you pick something? How do you know if that script's going to work? How do you know if, you just got to read the story. You got to, it's really honestly that easy. You have to would you want to watch this yourself? I mean, is there a person that you can get behind, that you want them to win? Are there characters that you can root for, people you can love to hate? I mean, some of the best stories have villains, I mean, how much did we love to hate, Hannibal Lecter, or Tony Soprano, who's a terrible person, does all these awful things, but yet you love him, and so I think that's really the thing in entertainment people have to remember. And sometimes, it is having that trust and that faith that you get it. I remember bringing The Hangover into a staff meeting once and saying, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever read. But people were a little bit on the fence about it, and they weren't quite sure. And like, what is this? And is it going to be good? And, you see them. I mean, it was just, I realized when I was laughing out loud while reading it, right, that this is going to be great. So, same with The Wedding Crashers, which is one of my favorite movies. And, and The Artist, a film that I put someone in, which is a black and white French movie that was silent, that it went on to win the Oscar. It was just so beautiful and cool and different. So I think you just got to go down to basics. And what a lot of people do is wait for someone to hit it, or wait for a writer to hit it, and they kind of just jump onto the bandwagon of what their next thing's going to be. But trust yourself and want to have interest in the story, and I think you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited, and I know all of our listeners are going, oh my gosh, it's going to be like anything like Game of Thrones or Hunger Games, or like Wonder Woman.
We have to get there. We lost a year too, so we'll be lucky. We're lucky that we're still working on it. But last year was a hit. In terms of time, and I think, just the real message I hope I'm just conveying is just in general for people wanting to get into Hollywood, quote unquote, is figure out your niche. If you want to work with artists, or if you want to work in production or development, finding stories from books or finding actors or directors, and is to go that way and trust your taste and follow, have your own voice and believe in someone. It could take 10 years. It took 12 years to develop the film 12 Years a Slave, but the book is incredible and people didn't give up. And so it's the same with Dallas Buyers Club or lots of stories. But it's kind of, staying the course to something you're really passionate about. And I think that's, when I look at the people that I admire, that's what they've done. And, and I think that's what, anywhere you want to break into Hollywood, that's what will carry you through. And being lucky too. Sometimes you just get lucky.
Yeah, but also, like, for Mimi, for you, it's you're just like an incredible producer, because you're able to identify talent scripts and books, and you have a vision, and you're able to execute. And I just
I haven't produced anything yet, so I don't even know why they gave me the job. But thank you for saying that. We're trying our best here. I was very honored when they did that.
Well, I'm so excited because I know everything that you're going to be producing and making coming up will be all our favorite films and TV shows. So I'm so excited, and I'm just so happy to have you on the show today. And where could someone, find out the updates on Asunda, the HBO project? Where could they find, like, is there a Facebook page or a website?
Yeah, well, Stranger Comics is he's really active on Instagram, like I said, and and Facebook. So he does it himself. He updates it all the time. So I would say you could follow either of those sites. Certainly. And if we definitely have news, it'll be on there for sure.
Yeah, and I'm so happy, and you've just been just so delightful to be on the show, and I just want to say thank you for coming on the show today, and and come on back and give us updates. We would love to have updates. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mimi, for coming on today. And I want to just thank all our listeners for coming back for part 2. And we appreciate your support. And please check out Stranger Things comics coming up Asunda.
Just Stranger Comics, no things. Although I love Stranger Things, but just Stranger Comics. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
All right, bye.
Bye.